Hello everyone, I want to present to you the book of the prophet Habakkuk. It is undeniable today not to ask for the wisdom behind God's silence in a world full of evil. The prophet Habakkuk helps us to understand this reality as Christians of today. The prophet Habakkuk lived during the final decades of Israel's southern kingdom, a time marked by rampant idolatry and injustice. Unlike other prophets who spoke on behalf of God to the people, Habakkuk addressed God, expressing his personal struggle with believing in God's goodness amid widespread evil. His laments resemble the poetic style found in the Psalms, highlighting his frustration with God's apparent silence in the face of injustice. Habakkuk presents two main complaints to God. His first concern centers on the harsh realities in Israel, where the Torah has been rejected, leading to violence and injustice tolerated by the nation's leaders. Habakkuk pleads with God to intervene, yet feels unsatisfied when God reveals that he will employ the Babylonian armies to enact justice. The prophet struggles with this response, questioning how a good God could use a nation as wicked as Babylon as an instrument of punishment. In waiting for God's response, Habakkuk receives a vision that brings hope. The righteous will live by their faith, and Babylon, like all corrupt nations, will ultimately fall under God's justice. This assurance extends beyond Babylon, resonating with future generations facing similar challenges. Habakkuk draws parallel to the Exodus narrative, where God delivered his people from oppression, reinforcing that he will ultimately defeat evil and rescue the innocent. The closing of Habakkuk's book encapsulates a message of hope, declaring joy in God even in times of scarcity. In his book, chapter 3, verses 17 to 18, it states, "Even if the fields produce no food, I will find joy in God my Savior." So, what lessons can we learn from the prophet Habakkuk? From Habakkuk, we glean invaluable lessons about faith and hope in the midst of crisis. In today's world, marked by economic instability, cultural disasters, and personal struggles, believers are encouraged to remain steadfast in faith. Habakkuk's example teaches that the true joy does not rest in material prosperity, but in deep spiritual connection with God. Amid a society driven by consumerism, his message calls for the rediscovery of joy, gratitude, and contentment rooted solely in divine trust. Thank you.